Hello, human on the other side of the screen, me here. I have a new idea. I'm gonna see how this lands with you all, but I kind of been thinking the last few days about getting a little bit more real and a little bit more personal and a little bit more vulnerable here on these videos.
Welcome! Here is your hostess and coach, Chandra Zas, helping people make food and mood changes doable without missing out. Go ahead, high five that like button, subscribe and share while you're there.
And I was thinking a lot last night. I didn't sleep very well last night. My little one didn't sleep well, and I was woken up many times at midnight and then again at 4, and she was awake from 4 to 5, and I slept really horrible. So I probably don't look the best. I didn't do any makeup or put on any jewelry. I just got back from a run, and I am not super clear-headed. I'm a little bit like having an off day. I've had a couple off days lately, and one of the things I've been thinking about to share with you guys is my process of stress, because stress is so important to understand and to manage. And I have had one of the most stressful years of my life. This last year has been really, really hard for me.
Hello, my friend. How are you? I'm in the Dead Sea, floating in the water. Go ahead and like and share and follow so we can keep in touch.
I had some health issues that kind of peaked and were maybe at their worst about a year ago right now. I was a single mom for 4 months, which is like one of my biggest fears. My partner went to work, and we used to live on the cruise ships, and we used to live together, and then COVID hit and really changed our life, like tremendously. In some ways really for the better, and in some ways like made it more challenging. The biggest thing is that in order for him to work, we cannot be together anymore. There's no family allowed on cruise ships anymore, and especially because our little one is little and not vaccinated, so we're not allowed. So he went to work for 4 months, and I was alone. And I was alone in California, and I was with some people and some friends, but everybody, including my really close friends, were in a very scared place and very isolated. And I didn't go into anyone's home except for 2 people for the entire winter. There was just a lot of fear, and I don't know if I've ever felt so isolated and scared as this last winter. It was one of the hardest moments of my life. And I have been building a business, as some of you know, which is also one of the scariest, most vulnerable things I've done. I am learning constantly. I am failing constantly. I am managing and feeling so many big, scary feelings that is a part of the game. It's what every entrepreneur goes through, is in order to do something new and hard, there's emotions that need to be gone through. So the way that I have been teaching stress to my clients is changing lives. It's changing my life, it's changing their lives. And it has to do with really understanding stress. And so I want to give you guys this is what, in this most crazy hard year that I've had this last year, this is what I have been doing personally on myself every day, every week. And it's also what I'm teaching my clients and helping them work with their own stress levels and reduce their stress levels. Because what happens when we're stressed is that it not only does it unpleasant and doesn't feel good, but it also causes health things in our body. It causes inflammation, it causes cortisol, it causes acidity. It really is one of the big factors in sickness and disease. There's a lot of health issues that are very much affected by stress. And it is really easy to be stressed right now. And especially since the pandemic, there are a lot of things going wrong or feels like they're going wrong, and things that are complicated and tricky and hard, and kids at home and job loss and being scared of getting COVID. I mean, there's a long, big list of things to be stressed and scared of. So relieving stress is one of the most important things that we can do for our health. And it's really the first place that I start with my clients, is really understanding where their stress is coming from and how to start unraveling it and lowering it. So there's two places that stress comes from. One is our thoughts, when we let our brain go places, and when we have default thoughts, and when we are given thoughts from the media or given thoughts from people in our life, we can feel stressed. Like, some of the thoughts are like, I have to do something, or I have so much to do, or I don't know what to do, or I don't know if I can handle this. There's like a bunch of common cookie cutter thoughts that create stress. And so brain management, understanding which thoughts are creating stress is really important, and realizing that those thoughts are optional. We can actually do a lot of work in our brain to question those thoughts and interrupt them and choose if they're worthy of letting ourselves get stressed out or not. That's a big part of it. And the other part that I really want to offer is allowing and processing feelings. So the other place that stress comes from is from resisting our emotions, resisting the hard negative emotions, resisting the fear, resisting the overwhelm, resisting the uncertainty, resisting the feelings that feel really uncomfortable in our body. And our brains are wired to resist and avoid these emotions. It's completely normal. It's the default instinct. Our brain is trying to help us survive by not feeling pain, including emotional pain. But what happens is when we don't feel these negative feelings, is they get stuck in us. They get stuck in our energy. They get stuck in our tissues. They get stuck in our emotional body. They get stuck in us. So when we have a bunch of emotions getting stuck and piled up, this leads to a state of physiological stress. This leads to chronic stress. So when we feel stressed, there is an option to lean in and feel the hard feelings, to feel the fear, to feel the overwhelm, to feel the uncertainty, to feel the unknown, to feel the sadness, the grief, to feel the anger, to feel those feelings underneath. And when we start going towards those emotions and telling our brain that they're okay, there's nothing gone wrong, and we start really processing and allowing those feelings to be part of our experience, then the stress lowers. The emotions don't necessarily go away, but the intensity of the emotion does actually shift. And the stress, the physiological stress, lowers. I feel like a master at this right now, because this has been my work all year, is leaning into my hard, scary feelings and breathing into them, allowing them, doing the mental work to remind my brain that they're okay, and I don't need to resist them. I don't need to fight them. I don't need to. Here's the other thing that what happens when we're stressed is we eat to comfort ourselves. We eat to feel better. And what do we eat? We eat comfort foods that are not nourishing our bodies. They're not good for our guts. They're not good for our brain. And we get stuck in this loop of feeling stressed and then eating to comfort ourselves and feeling the effects in our body. And it's one of the bummers of stress and one of the things that it can lead to. So if you're overeating, which I know that gaining weight has been a really common thing during COVID because people are home and stressed and using food to comfort and feel good and try to get us through this crazy ass time of life, this pandemic. If you're someone who is feeling stressed and has gained weight and is using food, like there is a way out, and it has to do with like learning. My nose is starting to drip a little bit. My little one brought a cold home. If you're one of these people, which honestly, I think we're all there right now on our own spectrums and on our own levels. Like, yeah, I know that stress is like up. It's like there's lots of things for our brain to grab onto, and there's lots of bad feelings to resist and fight and suppress and eat. So there is a way out. There is a way to lower stress, to cope with stress in a way that really takes the physiological state of stress out of our body, out of our tissues, and really promotes health. You know, there's never been a more important time to dedicate ourselves to our health. It's one of the first and most important things to do when there's a pandemic and all of this health stuff. And unfortunately, it's really easy to eat and sit on the couch and self-soothe in a way that actually harms our health. So I want to just offer this stress tool, this understanding a way out of stress, a way to lower stress internally without using food to feel better, to go towards our feelings, to feel, lean in to the fear and the uncertainty and the overwhelm and the unknown, like to lean into those. And then also to really look at our brain, like what is a really valid fear, you know? Is this a valid fear to let my brain figure out the problem and look for a solution? Or is this a fear that there's no purpose to me spending time here, that is just creating stress in my body? So there's a mental management piece and there's an emotional piece. And this has been my work. Like, while my partner, we have finally decided to go forward with his green card. We don't have the same citizenship. I have an American citizenship and he has an Israeli citizenship. And we were traveling, and so until COVID hit, we did not foresee having so many citizenship country issues. And now with COVID, our life has become really tricky to not have the same citizenship. So now we've decided to go through with the green card process for him, and there's a lot more things to be stressed about, lots more things to figure out and worry about, and a lot of things for my brain to go wild worrying about and being scared of. Like my brain, so the way that I talk to myself is like, hey brain, like I know you're trying to help me. Like, let's see what is valid here and what's not valid here. Like there's a way to talk to the scared part of our brain that we can. One of the things I like to do with my clients is name different parts of us, and I think she would be fine with this, but we named her scared part of her brain Lollipop. And that's why I'm kind of smiling, is because making light of it, acknowledging it, bringing it into awareness, welcoming it, that is part of the magic, is that it kind of makes things lighter. It makes things more digestible. It makes things less stressful, less scary. So that is what I have for you on stress, and I wish you all the best with your stress. Look at your brain, look at your mind, look at your thoughts, and feel the feelings underneath the stress. That is the magic. It is really a magic way to address stress in a really healthy, internally based way. So thank you so much. And if this is a value to you, please forward this video to someone else who you might think is valuable. Please give it a like. Please tell me what you're stressed about. Give me a comment. I would really love some interaction and engagement, and I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. So yeah, have a beautiful day. Breathe. It's also a good stress tool. Breathe. Go for a run and eat some good food and drink some water. Yep, that's what it takes. All right. Ciao.